Hey everyone, Caitlin Leopold, your Anytime Fitness registered dietitian here, and today I just wanted to talk about a budget-friendly recipe that can feed our family, and one that I typically like to use, one being it's pretty quick and easy to make, is chili. So why I like to make chili is, again, you can either make this the night before or in the morning before you're heading to work, right? I have my crock pot here. You literally just pop it in your crock pot, let it simmer all day, and it's good to go. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about the prices, and then we're going to talk about the ingredients. So I actually looked all of these prices up, and again, it's a pretty budget-friendly recipe, especially if your family likes chili, right? But a lot of these are canned goods. So, I have some beans here, diced tomatoes, right? Most canned goods cost about, depending on the time, but like 60 cents to $1 a lot of times, especially if you lean towards the store brand. So again, pretty budget friendly for about 3 cans here. I have my pasta sauce, right? I think I typically use 2 jars in mine just because mine's pretty thick with what I add. So I typically use 2 jars. Again, I think this was Prego. It was about $3.27, $3.67 for 2 jars. So again, pretty budget friendly. And then your meat source, or onions and seasonings. But most, again, your meats, it typically just depends on how much you use. But I think I looked before, and it was about $3.98 a pound for your ground beef or ground turkey. So that's pretty much where the bulk of your money comes from in this recipe. So again, if budget doesn't allow, you don't necessarily have to use the ground meat. You can actually just use the beans for your protein. But add it all together, it costs maybe $10, a little over, a little under, depending on what you use. And that's, again, enough to feed your family. I made this just for myself, and this chili lasted me about a week and a half. Just for that many meals. So again, it's under $10 and it lasts a long time. So a biggest bang for your buck, and you're getting a lot of those nutrients there. So I'm not necessarily going to make it today, but I'm going to kind of show you what I do if I would make my chili. The first thing I wanted to talk about today was our bean sources. So when I make chili, I typically use white beans and my kidney beans. So I usually actually use a can for each. Why beans are a great thing to add. They're actually in the legume category. And they are actually an excellent source of fiber. So remember, fiber is definitely important for proper digestive health. It keeps everything right moving properly in our body. We do need 25 to 35 grams. So again, it's definitely important to get proper fiber. And beans are also have a lot of B vitamins in it, such as your niacin and thiamine. And also, it's a protein source. It's a plant-based protein source as well. And it is low glycemic. So what that means when I say it's low glycemic is it actually does take a little bit longer for our body to break down and digest, meaning is it's a protein source and a carbohydrate source that doesn't spike my blood sugar. So it's a great source there. Typically when I add my beans to my chili, I put them in a strainer and I rinse them off, get all that kind of liquid juice that comes with it off of it, and then I put it in my crock pot. It's definitely important to strain and rinse a lot of your canned vegetables because that's where a bulk of your sodium actually comes from. So straining that, rinsing it off, putting in there, you'll be good to go. And then next, I'm going to talk about your meat source. So again, you can opt this out if you totally want to, but I definitely recommend adding it just for that extra protein. You can add, again, ground turkey, which is a great fat-free, in a sense, lean source of protein that you can add to your foods, or you can even add ground beef. The only thing about ground beef, typically any red meat, I say limit your sources to about 2 to 3 times a week of that red meat for that saturated fat content. But again, you just brown it up in a skillet, again, strain it and put it in your crock pot. We're good to go. And then next, when it comes to sauces, so again, chili's pretty versatile. You can actually add whatever sauce you really want. This one I found, and I use it a lot for all of my chilies. Once I used it, I loved it, so I use it all the time. But this is Prego. Let's see if you can see it. Prego Garden Chunky Combo. So why I like this is because it has a lot of vegetables actually in here, even if you look at the ingredients. Tomato puree, diced tomatoes, onions, zucchini, green peppers, celery, carrots. So it's actually got a lot of excess vegetables in here. It's 70 calories for half a cup. The biggest thing when it comes to sauces is just, again, read the sodium, because they tend to pack some excess sodium in here. For here, it's 480 for half a cup. So again, just making sure you're watching the sodium. This garden vegetable one's one of my favorites, especially in my chili. So typically for my chili, I use about 2 jars for this, and then it's good to go. And then what I also add, I think last time I added diced onion. So typically, depends how much onion you like, but I typically do about half of it. Dice it, cube it up, good to go. Again, more vegetables the better. And then I actually, because I like a chunky chili, these are diced tomatoes. These are actually the basil, garlic, and oregano. Same concept here. I just strain them. I don't rinse them because a lot of the sauces. But again, I just add that to my chili. So again, that's the great thing about chili is you can add whatever you want. Maybe you like this a little spicier. You could add some cayenne. You can add some spicy peppers. Again, I've even put sweet potatoes in my chili. You can add whatever you want, but this is what typically my base is kind of with my chili. But it's a versatile recipe, so you can typically add or take away whatever you want. If you don't want to add the ground beef, you don't have to. And a lot of this stuff I already have right in my cabinet or my pantry that I can easily just grab on the go when it's quick. So that's my budget-friendly chili recipe for you. We'll post the recipe on the page, but if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. If you have any additional recipes that you like to use or things like you like to add in your chili, just comment below. Thank you for watching.